Welcome. It's great to see you. It's great to see some of you back. Friendly to provide information. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today unworthy of the many blessings you bestowed upon our lives. Thank you for the grace you show us and the forgiveness that is ours to ask you. On this historic day of reflection, we remember those public servants and ordinary people just like us who lost their lives 23 years ago. We pray for the continued healing for their families, their communities, and the organizations and companies they represent. We ask you to bless all those here and abroad who serve each and every day to help keep us safe and secure. Life is the greatest event to which we will ever be invited, and we each live our lives in a way that honors the efforts of those individuals and glorifies you. Today, I want you to give us another chance. Thank you for the meal to nourish us and the fellowship to sustain us. Guide us to act justly in all our dealings. Help us to show kindness and instill in us the importance of walking humbly through the day before us. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Hey, we have a guest, it's our last time we get us, Kendra Lopez.
Monday, he came and she was Connie Smith, her birthday, happy birthday. Beth Hudson, her birthday on Tuesday, and then Saturday, her birthday. Again, happy birthday. And Catherine, you both for 3 years. So Gerald was on September 8th, and then Catherine on the 10th. Announcement, John, is it his day? Is that what's coming up?
Okay. From this Saturday, we'll have running for Rotary at Granger. As with last week, I put something out on the paper that has our corporate sponsors and individual sponsors. Y'all take a look at this, please, and if I've somehow neglected to include you, please let me know. If something's wrong, please let me know. And I'm passing something else out now that I thought was interesting, because when I was looking at the possibility, we had talked about a cool vehicle at the race. And conversation last Wednesday, had someone that said, oh, well, I need a cool vehicle, and asked me if you would. Thank you to pay for the school car that's going to be there next Saturday also. I was looking at the car and saw that the Model A was, loose, I think 27 to 31, is that right? And that's sort of the second time around. And I did a little bit of research on 1929 and where Rotary was in 1929. So there's some pretty neat facts on here that you might find interesting also. We've come a long way in the Individual Club, and although 100 years ago, we were in our infancy, Rotary was pretty new also. A lot of things were happening then, and a lot's happened since. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
John, and don't keep it up, the social media posts and the sharing it via email, it's working, our rates are increasing, so it's going to be a great event, and one that we're not going to miss, so we'll get to do lots of things with the money that is fundraising. So, looking forward to a great day. At this time, would you invite Michael to come forward with the audience, inducting you the first day?
It's my pleasure today to introduce you to local is the district executive with the Chattanooga Council of Scouting America. Yes, so the name is changed from Boy Scouts of America to Scouts of America. But she is the resident one to come to the park. Her husband Lance is in the military as an instructor. He doesn't know what he instructs. And she has 2 children. Carly, who is age 17, and Wayne, who is age 14. Pardon me? Okay, I didn't believe that. But she has been assigned to this area, to for and this used to be Yellow Jacket District, but it's now or Gates Community District. But we pretty proud to have her. Yeah, Dorothy, faith, proud, and spending time with the family and the animals. So please welcome.
And then Kate's gonna come forward.
Excited to welcome you to LaGrange Rotary. We have this plaque for your office, and at this time we ask everybody to join me in reciting the 4-way test. So, the 4-way test, join me, please. Change their practices. Like I said, I can handle change, I'm sure, but the 4-way test of the things that I so, well.
We have a little time for happy hours, if anyone has something they'd like to share today.
I had to dig out the quarters for my $100, but that'll work. I wanted to remind everyone that the great season starts next week with the great season. The concert is Tuesday night at Kelway Auditorium, and the theme is American Fanfare. So I invite all of you to bring, there's brochures out, so you put your badge up. Also, regularly, you have to see local tickets. So it should be a great concert. And the website, we're going to see you website and so here. So we hope to see you Tuesday.
And we need to see all of you again, it's been several weeks since I've been here, so I don't think anything more exciting has been, other than seeing y'all, than seeing broccoli for lunch. Relocating, rebranding, and repurposing medical practice has been taking a long time. Just glad to be here, man, it's up and running. Thank you for all who reached out and supported, shared Facebook posts, and for letting me back. But Trish, Dr. I am still alive in church.
Okay, thank you, and at this time, Darren's going to come forward and introduce our program.
Okay, good afternoon. As Prayer talked about, 23 years ago, you had September 10th, then you have September 12th. And it's totally different how this country, the world is by that one event that happened on September 11th. I know I was personally expected to spend about a week locked up on Fort Benning at the time. At least said to get off of Fort Benning after having a well-paid check. And he basically set the rest of my career in an interesting trajectory, as well as the gentleman will be appearing from today. So, Command Sergeant Major Ricky Young served in the U.S. Army from October 1983 to June of 2012 as an armor and cavalry trooper. The stateside assignments with Fort Hood, Texas, where he did 2 tours, Fort Knox, Kentucky, 2 tours, Fort Riley, Kansas, Fort Bliss, Texas, and Fort Benning, Georgia. His overseas tours include 2 to Germany, Darlstadt, Freeburg, 2 tours in support of Operation Freedom 1 and 5 through 7. Ricky was the command sergeant major who was instrumental in bringing the armor school from Fort Knox down to Fort Benning. And I'm sure it would be a 2-week-long discussion with him, especially dealing with all the rolling stock that had to get down. Throughout his career, he served a variety of leadership positions from tank commander to command sergeant major. And interestingly, 0.8% that enlist make it to command sergeant major. So he's like one of a the final assignment was as command sergeant major in the United States Army Armor School, Fort Benning, Georgia, where he retired with over 20 years of service. After retirement, he worked as a business development program manager with the Gas Research Group, and that's where I met him. He's a competitor of mine. Ricky has served as the executive director of the National Armor and Cavalry Heritage Foundation since 2014. He serves as vice president of the Thunderbolt chapter of the U.S. Cavalry and Armor Association, vice president for the NCO Soldiers Program, Chattahoochee Valley chapter, Fort Moore chapter of AUSA. He's a life member of the Association of the United States Army, U.S. Army, the U.S. Cavalry and Armor Association, the National Infantry Association, and Fort Moore Sergeant Majors Association. Additionally, he serves as an elder and Sunday school teacher at Northside Christian Church. Rick and his wife Marjorie live in Waverly Hall, Georgia, and have 2 daughters, 3 grandchildren. And I'm proud to call him a friend now that he's no longer a competitor. So, business. But please welcome.
Well, I'm honored to be here, but I have to be honest, every time I hear my bio read, I keep making it shorter and shorter, because when they start going through the serve here, I'm waiting for a flag break casket. It just sounds way too much like an obituary. So I appreciate that you all will listen to that. As Sarah mentioned, the National Army Cavalry Heritage Foundation oversees the U.S. Army Armor and Cavalry collection at Fort Moore, Georgia. Part of who we get a quick backstory before I start putting this slide on. So here's the other thing. I always started walking upright when I retired in 2012. I'm a knuckle dragging painter, right? So just bear with me with technology. It may or may not. But as part of the move from Fort Knox to Fort Benning at that time, we moved the collection that was inside the Patton Museum of Art and Capital. And in 2009, the National Art and Capital Heritage Foundation was stood up with the sole purpose of moving that collection and building a standalone museum at Fort Benning. We were talking over here on the table a little bit earlier about change, and you guys have been going through some procedural change. The one thing I found out in my life over and over again is the one constant in life is change. You'll see as we go through this presentation, you'll see a couple of mission changes of what we were going to do and now what we're doing. But I'm honored to be able to speak to you today on, when Derek first asked, I looked at the date when, do I really want to speak in public on September 11th? Because as big mentioned, that changed all of our lives. In one way or another, took up a whole lot of time. And, we got a whole generation now that they don't know anything but post that. So one of the things that I lean into that, was one of the things with the Art and Capital Heritage Foundation is make sure that that heritage and that history isn't lost. And as we talk through this, and hear more about it being a non-public accessible facility, everybody's going to scratch their head. And I've been doing it for over a decade now, trying to figure out how we got ourselves in this spot. I haven't. I don't like it, but I have. But like I said, we support the Armored Capital Collection. Oh, there it is. So the Armored Capital Collection is property of the United States Army. The sole purpose of the collection, in accordance with the Army and Center Military History, is to train and educate our nation's soldiers as they come in as infantry soldiers, enlisted or commissioned officers, train them on the history of armored cavalry, as well as being a repository for technological advances. We have a lot of folks from around the Army, a lot of different engineering corporations come in and look at vehicles through history and say, hey, we've tried this type of science system. What works, what doesn't work, how do we make it better? So it's really, by the Army standard, it's really more of a teaching tool than it is an artifact museum showplace. That's where the foundation comes in. There's really no real funding for them to having staff to take. There's really no staff to take people through there. There's no staff to make sure that they're walking around everybody's being safe and people aren't climbing up on vehicles. So the bottom line is, all the funding that was put into the building, the 102,000 square foot building, was all coded by the Army for no public access. I love the applause there. But when you look at it, I won't insult anybody's intelligence by reading those slides. All right, I will have, they're up there. You can read through them as I speak and get a little background. I'll have some time at the end for questions. But as you can see, we have everything from 1775 when the cavalry was first instituted, in micro artifacts, sabers, rifles, saddles, spurs. I mean, you name it, they've got it in the archive collection, to include all of the historical documentation that goes along with it. All the doctrine manuals have been written over the years. So we have, around 250 years of history. As today, this collection to make sure that we don't make those same mistakes again when it comes to either technology, tactics, camera feeding, we don't like horses anymore, but tanks take a whole lot more than a couple of bales a day, I can just tell you. But as you can see, the collection has over 265 pieces on display. A lot of those are towed anti-tank weapons from around the world. There's 190 macro artifacts. When I say macro artifacts, you see the term macro and micro artifacts. Macro artifacts are tanks, wheeled vehicles, towed pieces. Micro artifacts are what I'm talking about: full weapons, sabers, uniforms, documents. One of the things I share with you, we actually have patents, commissioning certificate in the United States Cavalry in the collection. Now, that can't leave this room because I don't believe the Patton family knows that we have that. Because they would probably want if the Patton Museum of Leadership back up for us. But there's also almost 10,000 micro artifacts in the collection that are, very few of those are on display because of the space. We'll kind of get into it. You can see the pictures of the building. That's actually a 102,000 square foot facility. It's an open bay. There's 85,000 square foot of open display space and everything else kind of chopped up into mechanical space, storage areas, and all. When you look at that, and you'll see, hey, this, you can get pictures of I should be able to walk through there and eat that once. And you're right, you should, but you can't. But we're working on that. So it was completely DOD funded. The project, to get to where we are, I'll kick the next slide in. So we are a 501c3. I like to talk about the collection first before I throw in who we are. Because it's really about the collection. It's really about preserving that heritage and honoring our members. That's what the foundation is to do. In 2009, as I said, as the move was announced in 2008, all the wheels started turning. We were coming from Fort Knox to Fort Benton. There was a board in place that was getting ready to refurbish the Patton Museum. That board split. Another board stood up in the Armor County Heritage Foundation. Said, hey, we're moving down to Georgia, and we're going to build a new museum down there and take all this stuff that's coming down. The recent stuff didn't stay enough. I mentioned before, it's all part of a training collection. So its purpose, the Army Academy, is to train soldiers. Now, we do a lot of public outreach and do other things with it. But the way the Army has justified their funding is actually by regular training. And that's what they've done over the years. And that's why when I hope the board public access, that's how they got the building built. We had money in the BRAC budget coming down to build a building that we recently built. But it was discussed at that time. Another part of this thing is probably will not see the museum in this presentation. Because in my world right now, museum is a bank. Goes back to public access. So in 2009 or 10, there was a congressional staffing with the BRAC budget, and some of our board members at the time, retired general officers, were in DC having discussions and saying, this is great. They got $30 million inside to build this building, and we'll get more money, we'll put a facade on the front of it, and that'll be our new Armor County Museum. They know the rest of that didn't like it. It got back to the BRAC committee, and the BRAC committee says, wait a minute. The Army doesn't build museums. And that money went away. I'm sure it got redistributed somewhere else, but it did not build. So it took about 7 or 8 years to get the project turned back around. And that's how they got it. When I tell you about it, encoded, no book access, that's how they got the funding for it. That happens. But before that, I could have took you around Fort Benton and showed you about 5 different locations where a large portion of buildings stood outside. Just lost it away. So we were stood up to build a museum, but in 2017, I was sitting in the Pentagon with 2 of our other board of directors members, talking to the undersecretary and saying, I see that memorandum of agreement you have. I understand you want to build us a turnkey museum, but you need to understand right now we don't want it. Because the whole idea was we would build a museum and the keys from that point forward, it would belong to the United States Army. Now, they had a maintenance channel that they didn't want with that. They knew there would be more funding to do that. So the way things were in 17, they decided then, and they told us that we're not telling you no, we're telling you not. And I know this seems like a long story to get to where we are today, but I think there's enough that's been said in the community around Cold War over the last decade about an Armor County Museum. One thing I do when I speak is I try to give everybody the whole story. So after the meeting in 2017, the board of directors met in 18, we said, hey, we're obviously not going to be able to build this museum. If we had $60 million in the bank today, the bank said, the Army is not ready to receive that gift. That's where we were. So what we decided to do, we decided what we're gonna do is we're gonna support this collection. The Army said we're gonna build this wonderful facility. We're gonna have this collection, some of these vehicles still need restoration, still need maintenance, they still need refurbishment. And there's not enough money in the center military history budget to do all this stuff. So we're now going to support the collection and make sure it is taken care of the way it's supposed to. So that's support. But you'll see it talks about our education volunteers, it talks about us having community outreach events and other things in there. So it's, yes, officially, the Army says there's no, but they also allow us to host groups out there, bring veterans groups like this, community groups, because the main thing is not to let that history go away. If we just lock it up and it just sits there and the only people you see it is the 12% of the United States public that actually goes to the military, well, that history is going to go away. And a big portion of it will be lost. But that's kind of what we do. One of the other things we have there on Fort Moore is the Army Cavalry Heritage Park. If you've been there, you may have noticed that it was named Patton's Park at one time. We're now changing that to kind of get a broader scope of what's there. So on this park, we have not that big group. They're really representing all the iconic periods of Army. We also have, right now, there's 7 monuments that are dedicated to youth to honor the service of men and women who served in those units. We have a plan where they pointed out we've got space of 30 more organizational monuments there at the park. And that's one of the things that we'll have, that's an enduring commitment for us. And no matter what else happens, the foundation will stay around and exist to maintain this park and maintain that heritage. And this is really just property. If you're familiar with and you've been in that Museum, it is just south of that, right before you get to that entrance gate. So it's still off the installation, don't need a visit back. It's open air park. If the sun's up, it's open. If the sun's down, the military police folks at that gate, they come down and ask what you're doing. But it's not closed. You know, what nonprofit would stand in front of a group and not say, hey, we need support? I mean, you don't expect that. But the bottom line is, I mentioned to you about restoration of the vehicles. Maintaining volunteers out there so we can host community groups that come through, reunion groups that come through. We have to train our coaches out there to walk around and talk about the vehicles at a much higher level than I do. Because I walk around and think, yeah, those are tanks. I served on them for 29 years. Those are tanks. But those are old tanks. Those are not so old tanks. You know, and then you embarrass like 13-year-old that never reads much more like tanks than you do. And you just think it's really a model of the German tanks. I know nothing about it. But I'm telling you, these kids, this is nothing to get me excited about. These kids are old house. And they start talking about these, you know, these Panzer IVs, different variants, kind of like, what's the size of that in front of you? That's what it is. But the thing is, I can tell you that because there's an interest in the younger generation. And that's why we need to make sure we keep this stuff going, we keep these vehicles moving forward as they refurbishment or just regular maintenance. Let's just get rid of one of those. This is about $5,000 of the operating budget that the staff, all 3 of them. So there's 3 gigs staff to take care of this. You know, all those 300 vehicle collections, 10,000 micro artifacts. That's their day job. And then when we start breaking training classes or basic leadership course classes, they have to stop doing their day job part and go teach these history classes. And so that's why it's pretty important for us to have a robust group of volunteers that we have out there. But they only have about $5,000 left in their operating budget to do any upkeep on vehicles. Now, because we have a strong cohort of volunteers, we do a lot of free labor. You still have to pay for the materials. It's all done in mill specs. You know, nothing Nothing is put on in these vehicles without it being period correct, because they are catalog artifacts. They have to be restored, period correct. So you can imagine your standard gallon of paint costs $40. Well, because mine has to be adult green, replicate turbo colors, it's now $140. And it takes you 10 hours to remake it. So we do that, that's what a lot of our dollars go to. And also supports the staff in the open house. We had one open house last Saturday, I had 720 votes go through. We had a 2-day open house in April, and this is where I know there's an interest in it. With a 2-day open house in April, we had almost 4,000 people go through that today. At one time, we know there were 1,000 people inside that building at one time. So there's an interest in it. We have to be sparing of open doors, look at these foundations, but that's how we get more open hours. And of course, that's us looking to the ordinance, okay, we'll fund that. We'll have the folks in there, we'll have the employees, we'll have the docents, we'll do the tours. It's not taking away from the DA civilians doing their day job. So we'll get more community input in there. Because it's 250 years of history. And just lock it up and say, well, that's nice. These are projects that come through. I'm telling you, 300 actually pay attention. But when their life becomes part of it, they start paying attention. Let's go, when we go for those, not only is it part of maintaining, Armour County Heritage Park, the monuments, vehicles out there, we also maintain fine signage. All the upgrades that go to the collection come directly, either directly or indirectly from the foundation. We do take some of the kind donations from corporations. We're looking at a project now. So here's just, 5 vehicles that are on the docket right now. One's an M3 Stewart in the upper left-hand corner that they're about halfway done, which we have a restoration jury. That's a fancy name for a guy who restores vehicles. And he's a staff of one. So these projects, he started, as materials become available or as the priorities are met. But we do get cohort volunteers to help out. So they've been working on that for about 9 months. Right next to it, you see that insurance. The Sherman variant is called Calliope. Those of you familiar with multiple rights walking system, multiple launch rocket system. That's a 1944 version of it. You also see a Mark or a Panther Mark IV. That's actually one that's playing like now that we'll pull out probably in the next 30 days, take it over into the bay and start refurbishing that. There's no H-58 Kyle helicopter that we got in 3 weeks ago that has served in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Abrams in the middle, this is kind of one of our new crown jewels. That got offloaded about 6 weeks ago, and that is the first tank that rolled into Baghdad in 2003. That's Alpha 111, Task Force 161, and that is no kidding, the first tank that rolled into Baghdad. The ones where Baghdad bombs, similarly, I know you don't want to know that propaganda because it's in the tank. The Baghdad bombs in there, this is from doing the Iraqi propaganda, there are no tanks. Well, he was a little mistaken. Well, that'll be about an 18-month project. We're working with General Dynamics Land Systems to actually manufacture the tank in the beginning. But that'll be about 18 months because we're going to return it to the way it was when it crossed the Perm. When that left point started going north to Iraq. We're going to get it right back to there. We're even looking, if you see pictures from that time, you'll find out that tank in particular had what we call a mine cloud. Right? I can tell you stories about mine clouds. But we probably won't be able to do that, but we have talked to the manufacturer. We might actually be able to get a mine cloud and put it exactly how it was. But that'll be more expensive because, we're talking weapons, gear, and everything. The neat thing about that is the load plan documents that every tank in that company went by are still taped to the top lid of the current cylinder. And so those are the kind of things that you start talking about history you want to preserve. Those things will stay on there forever. We won't reproduce them. I mean, they are there from 2003. They probably went over in 2002. But we'll do that. Of course, I show the boxes because that's all the stuff you don't see. That's one out of about 30 or set in our common library. We haven't pulled the box prints off yet. And so there's just a lot there. But I always kind of touch on, what is the foundation doing? If you're not building a museum, what are you doing? And this is what we're doing. And our goal is to get more public access to the facility to be able to showcase that. And I'll stand here today and invite this group. Charge this group to come down and do what's right. We'll set it up, come down and walk through. Because the more people that know about it, here's my political now. The more people that will talk to their representatives and their local political officials to say, hey, what can we do for you? And because I asked a lot of the questions, so why is all this public? It's taxpayer dollars to build it. It's taxpayer dollars paying for those videos. That's as far down the road go. If you guys can fill in the rest. It's really an honor to come and share with you. I'll leave this up there for a little bit. Although I did business development and I was a program manager, I stayed when I was done do retail. And I hate to say it, but nonprofit fundraising is about as close to retail as you can get. With no product. But there are a lot of things. If you go to our website, we do have a lot of things. And we have some different donation levels. We have an open house. As a matter of fact, there's 2 more open houses this year. Things. There it is. November 2nd and December 14th. Now, I will tell you, if you want to come down on the 14th, that one may be a little bit special. We're going to celebrate the anniversary of Battle of the Bulge. It also 12 December is actually the birthday of the cavalry. So that's where the armor heritage starts with the cavalry. So that one was special. Anybody who's disturbed, I know what I'm talking about. I think there's going to be a punch bowl there. We heard the word raw. We're planning to actually be closing out for the year. And then we'll probably also announce next few days. Right now, we've got the Army to agree in Center Military History. We can have at least one open house quarter. And we always do this on Saturday. What we're looking to do is have a foundation. We're lobbying with Center Military History. Say, hey, give us Friday afternoon. Give us every Friday afternoon. And we'll maintain that. So we're extensively working, but I will tell you, the referred to as the U.S. Army Armor and Cavalry Collection, supported by the National Army Cavalry Heritage Foundation. We're not allowed to call it a museum because for some reason people don't like it. You say museum, they take your money away. I don't get it. But it's not me to share with you because I know I get asked a lot, even from Oregon, to get the new company right now. So a lot of old rangers, that's what we call those retired guys, think we what young it's all about. Or walking around, so where's the museum? We hadn't seen these icebreaker out there running around. I said, well, it's not a museum, it's your standing. It's not a square foot tax. Who needs a museum? But I would, what's the thank you for allowing me to speak and maybe clarify. I'll open up questions here, but or you have another group you're involved in, you have scouts that come down on Saturday morning. I mean, I think kids call through an Abrams tank, sitting right beside the T-72. So we can do some really fun things if you really want to call that things. We just can't do that when all the public's there. We do tours like we do on the side. We have a World War II tank. We have 3 World War II tanks there you can get in around one. And then we have the one bank that's got the Abrams and T-72, which is, all the Cold War and later on, that's important because we were all supposed to be scared to death of the T-72s until we fired the first round. That sure was a decade each year. But the bottom line is to see those two vehicles side by side. And just like in the collection, you can see a King Tiger and a Sherman right across from each other. You start getting some perspective about what the band went through in those areas. And really, it's all about the turn our heritage and honor our memories. And I guess we got a couple of minutes. Whoa, hey, instead of hard stuff, 1 o'clock. That means I got 3 minutes for questions and 3 minutes to close up. Sir,
What's the differentiation between armored division, armored cavalry?
well, today, armored division exists and armored cavalry division doesn't. But the difference is, and we didn't have armored cavalry divisions, there were armored cavalry regiments. The big difference is that the armored division is armored fuel. It's armored period. It's all mechanized. You get into the regiments, they have all of the ordained support they need. So they have, for today's modern, they have tanks, traveling. Each squadron has its own artillery, their own mortars. Air support we had for a long time. We had the air tab that flew with the regiment. And a lot of it went away. They just recently were going to bring that formation back. It just brings a lot of capabilities to the battlefield. In an organic, if you look at in Vietnam or short head that 11th Cavalry Regiment, 2nd Cavalry Regiment, what they were doing in Germany, what the 11th Cav and how they were organized in Vietnam, the success they had with all the different aspects of being organic. Where when you get into a division, you've got a tank battalion over here, it's got a car. Field artillery battalion over here, and then the aviation battalion over here, and you hope you get all the support you need. Where the armored cavalry regiments, it was all organic. You had a colonel who knew all that, and was able to bring all that to bear. I hope that answers your question.
What's the process to get something in the like the day when the Army retires, his equipment and all that will come on radar screen with heritage?
No. No, a lot of that's what we're struggling with, that the military history side of it. A lot of times, especially the 80s, we've had the 80s in the fleet for almost 100 years. So when it comes off the one, it goes into a pile on the Sierra Leone Depot, which is where it's found. You know, you think somebody would have thought, hey, that's the thing, we probably just put that over here on the side. So what happened, a lot of stuff is just stored. And nobody's tracking that stuff. But first thing, about some of the World War II, Cobra King was part of the collection. 4 wards now, the next one you go. Actually set in front of 3 different battalion headquarters in Germany, and the people in that battalion did not know what that thing was. So I think they were painting some crazy, putting unit logos on there. So it's, although Big Army has a tracking system for all those vehicles, it's one guy in a room with, a single light bulb hanging over, and they might go give a training where it's at. There's a lot of stuff that just needs to happen. So the short answer is, it doesn't work as well as it should. The upside is, it's all about new programs. They're able to not be familiar with that. M1A2, the Enhanced Package version 4, the program that the Army just run. One of the prototypes will be in the collection at the end of this month. So that's a win for the collection. And in fact, there's probably 12 to 15 prototype vehicles in the collection. Sir?
Two parts. Does the Army still have a mounted cavalry active in Fort Hooker? And 2, someone told me that you can actually go to Anniston, Alabama, and ride in the tank for $500 or not for free.
You're unreal.
So they just got an answer, I need to figure it out. First question is, about the cavalry, horses, no. But we do still have some cavalry squadrons. Cavalry squadrons, that are active. Now, the configuration is completely different when I started. But I wouldn't pay it thanks. Any other questions before I move to the?
How do you move these things around? It doesn't sound like you have enough.
Well, most of them, one of the things we found is, at least in about 2011, is we were able to get 2 aircraft donated to the foundation that now are used to pull these vehicles. Occasionally we have to go to the folks at Fort Elements and get an M88 Armored Recovery vehicle to move some of the heavy ones. But the guys out there, our volunteers on staff, are pretty good with those aircraft, taking stuff around and getting it where it needs to be. All right, I'm getting the hope, I know. Because I know a lot to do, you got something to do. But again, thanks for the opportunity, and I'm more than happy. I've got cards, I've got the pamphlets, you can send an email or people there. And we'll set up a tour. Love to have you down at the Post Town. We can host a lunch. We can host an evening, the afternoon. Love to have you down at the city play. It's your history, and it's our history. So thanks.
Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your service. We appreciate you. We will be making a donation to polio funds, which is very understood to eradicate polio worldwide. Thank you again. A couple of announcements before we adjourn. Next week will be at Delamont for the United Way kickoff. So don't come here, go there. And if you have not told us today that you were going to be able to join us, please let us know. You can send us an email or you can check with us on the way out. But we'd love to have a great representation of Frederick to support our local United Way. And then the 25th, we will be back here and I'm sure we will update on what he has done this past year. So we look forward to those things. We will have a board meeting next week. We'll be at the chamber following United Way luncheon. So if you are a board member or need to make that trip, feel free to come join us at the chamber immediately following that. And that is all. So thank you all again for being here. We are adjourned.